Why, hello. Welcome back to Black Myth Wukong. This we continue with the lore. Continue journey. Chapter 3. Wouldn't that have a lot of stuff in it? I'm pretty sure we'll have a lot of stuff. Am I actually up to chapter 3 or have I gone past chapter 3? We will see. I think I am up to chapter 3. Let's see. Journal. Boystone, Blazestone, Blazebone, Spearbone, Swift Bat with a corpse. Captain. Supporter Monk. Yeah, I think that's what I'm up to now, Supporter Monk. And it goes up to... Where does it go up to? I think that's chapter 4. I think the Yakshas are chapter 4. So we'll end at a frozen corpse, maybe. So that's not that much. Alright. Supporter Monk. Strength unused, with no place due. Lifting stones are tossed askew. Eyes so bright yet lost in haze. An empty gaze, lost in self's maze. In the past, the craftsmen building the Grand Hall in the New West frequently encountered strange occurrences, leading many to quit. Curious, one craftsman sought out the abbot, reputed to be a high monk, for answers. The abbot, without hesitation, led him to the great pagoda, where he revealed the Lantern Warden. The craftsmen were terrified, having heard tales of Yaguais in their youth, but never having seen one. At that moment, a wondrous sound echoed through the great pagoda, and the Lantern Warden emitted a blinding light, causing the craftsmen to lose their sight. They cried out in despair. The abbot smiled and said, "To see the truth, one must be willing to sacrifice even sight. You might as well stay here in this temple and practice the path to ultimate bliss with me. Perhaps you will have the chance to transcend and reach the Buddha's realm." Realizing they were now blind and unable to find work, the craftsmen decided to abandon their secular life and join the temple. They asked the abbot how they should practice, and he replied, "Whatever you are skilled at, practice that." Really? Huh. The craftsmen, known for their great strength, decided to pursue enlightenment through martial arts. Despite their blindness, they trained under the temple's overseeing monks. They tied large stones to iron chains and attached them to their wrists, lifting them daily. This also conveniently prepared the stones needed for the temple's construction. The abbot was pleased and appointed them as supporter monks, saving a considerable amount of labor costs. He just took them and blinded them, and he hired them? Alright. Blade Monk. A foolish monk hears a wise voice divine, beheading seen as practice and evil so refined. Crooked paths lead to ever twisted ways. The wicked blade awakens, yet the mind still strays. The Yakshas who sought refuge in the New West were mostly unwilling to sever their old grudges, and thus served as lay disciples in the temple. Some Yakshas, however, aspired to attain enlightenment and shaved their hair to become inner disciples. They had promised their master to sever 1,000 heads to prove their resolve. Yellowbrow was pleased and bestowed upon them special blades, calling them blade monks, and allowed them to practice in the pagoda realm. They truly managed to behead 1,000 foes. They could become arhats in the main hall. Initially, the blade monks thought this task would be easy, as the pagoda realm was filled with newcomers on the path of enlightenment. However, the path grew more challenging as they found the remaining inhabitants of the pagoda realm to all be formidable adversaries, the agile and elusive starved abominations, whom they couldn't catch, the long-limbed lantern wardens, whom they dared not provoke, the temperamental enslaved yakshas, whose cruel vengeance they feared, and even the weakest yaksha archers, who had become mad and terrifying after practicing the closed-eye meditation technique. Seeing that the red-haired yakshas often sat quietly alone, appearing very docile, they decided to target them. Although the red-haired yakshas believed all beings deserved to live, he harbored a deep hatred for those who beheaded others due to the war that destroyed their nation and their own fate. Thus, he showed no mercy and promptly beheaded the blade monks who attempted to do so. After this lesson, the blade monks became subdued but remained resentful. They often hid in corners, ambushing passers-by to add to their account of beheading through their treacherous means. Oh, it's these motherfuckers. Yeah, they're in the pagoda realm, they're hiding in the corners to actually hit you with a flurry of blows. Sensor holder. Incense sticks break, the iron sensor cold. Frost cuts, wind slash. Thin are the monk's robes. Bitter be the path of cultivation's quest. Elusive bliss, hidden truths, the soul's dreams oppressed. Years ago, a merchant sought to cross the New West to conduct business. He should have taken the official road around the mountain, but due to a limited budget and dwindling supplies, he decided to take a shortcut over the mountain. Not long after venturing upon the mountain, he lost his way. The path was blocked by snow, and the cold was biting. The merchant, both freezing and frightened, was at a loss. When he saw an ascetic monk, bare-chested and carrying a censer, passing by on a nearby slope, in a moment of desperation, the merchant hurriedly dragged his goods and followed the monk. The monk walked slowly, but the merchant, burdened by his goods, moved even slower, and could never quite catch up. In this manner, the two of them, one leading and one following, climbed to the mountain's peak, where a grand temple stood. Overjoyed, the merchant planned to rest there, and hired some monks to help carry his goods over the mountain. As he approached the temple gate, he became wary. There were many monks standing like statues in the snow, completely motionless. The merchant was alarmed and frantically searched for the monk who had led him. Suddenly he heard footsteps and saw several monks carrying censers walking among the frozen bodies. They surrounded the merchant, and just as he was about to plead for his life, a cold mist rose from the censers, freezing him in place among the snow-covered corpses. Oh, another one to the pile, I guess. Circus monkey. Through hoops they leap and somersault, with drums and tricks their skills exalt. The wicked stride with fearless ease, the kind are unburdened. The kind are burdened, souls aggrieved. Years ago, after Mount Huagua was destroyed, the macaque chief led his followers away, seeking a new place to practice. They trekked to the Flaming Mountains, hoping to settle there. However, a plague soon broke out among the monkeys. The macaque chief ordered the sick monkeys to be thrown into a deep valley. This action instilled fear among the monkeys, causing them to abandon him and wander aimlessly. Man, that's savage. killed his sick monkeys. They traveled through mortal cities, disguising themselves as circus monkeys to earn a living. However, after each performance, the audience would disperse, leaving them with meager earnings and empty bellies. One day, a monkey had a sudden idea. Why not use their performances to gather people together and then rob them? With that thought, they beat their drums and gongs, performing energetically to attract a crowd. Once the audience had gathered, they killed them, stripped them of their clothes and valuables, and fled to the next city. Didn't have to kill them. By God. It was in this manner that they eventually reached the New West, and upon hearing that the macaque chief was also practicing there, they decided to become monks. Feeling the weight of his guilt toward his kin, the macaque chief avoided them, which only fueled their resentment. Knowing they were no match for the macaque chief, they took on the role of welcoming guests, so that by striking a gong, they could summon other guys patrolling the area. They waited every day for the chance to see the macaque chief, planning to summon the local guys and give him a good beating when the time came. I don't think there'll still be a match for him. Overseeing monk. Yeah, these guys hit real hard, but luckily they're blind. With closed eyes, he practices through mere fist. In silence discerns the loyal from the twist. Cutting thoughts, he seeks the pure domain. Desires quelled, new bonds are slain. In the temple, all monks could seek guidance from those most skilled. Among them, the monks who were passionate about fist martial arts always followed the second senior disciple, non-able, to practice and train. Their temperament was also similar to non-ables, as they were most inclined to fight for justice, earning them the title of overseeing monks. Since the non-able was punished by the master and sent to the towers of karma to reflect on his mistakes, the overseeing monks lost their protector. As a result, they often suffered greatly when standing up for others. Troubled, the overseeing monks went to ask the masters the solution. The master smiled and said, "If you do not see, your mind will be free from obstacles. The greatest affliction of men is weakness. Close your eyes and focus on your own cultivation." Initially, the overseeing monks covered their eyes with cloth, but when they removed the cloth, they still couldn't ignore what they saw and heard. Then Yellowbrow suggested, "Why not try gouging out your eyes?" From then on, the temple had a new skill named Blind Zen. Practitioners of this art nurtured their minds to be as serene as still waters by turning a blind eye to the distractions of the world. But can they truly attain stillness? Perhaps any slight sound would only further agitate their restless hearts. Man, you don't have to do that. It just feels like this Yellowbrow guy really likes to blind people. Jewel Blade Monk. Clad in red attire, with twin blades in hand, his pristine edges dance and gleam, their spirit bold and grand. Within each blade resides a hidden art concealed. Bid life brings true wisdom, the balanced path revealed. In days past, a monk wielding two twin blades sought out New Thunderclap Temple, hoping to learn more advanced techniques there. His blades were plain in appearance, thus upon entering the New West and seeing the dazzling and peculiar weapons of the Yakshas, he was filled with envy. In his childhood, he had once admired a pair of ornate blades, but his master had scolded him for his vanity. Focusing on the beauty of your weapon will only lead you astray in martial arts. The monk had taken these words to heart, but now, seeing that others did not adhere to this principle, he began to waver. He approached the Yakshas, inquiring about the aesthetics of their swords. The Yakshas were puzzled and replied, "The more beautiful the blades, the more I want to practice with them. How could that be a hindrance?" Still uncertain, the monk sought advice from his senior, Non-Pure, who was skilled with a monk's spade. Non-Pure replied, "Since you have already mastered your techniques, why cling to the past?" Taking this to heart, the monk abandoned his old blades, and inspired by the Yaksha's ornate designs, forged himself a pair of new elaborate blades. hoping to fulfill his childhood dream. However, despite their striking appearance, the new ones were not the familiar plain ones he had used for years. With these new weapons, new flaws were revealed in the techniques he had honed over so many years. Alas, spring gives birth, summer nurtures, autumn harvests, and winter stores. All things have their seasons. Gaining something out of season, even if obtained, is still a loss. Understanding the right moment for all things is indeed a difficult lesson to learn. They got used to their shitty weapons. The weight, the feel. And so when they introduce with a new weapon, even though it's the same, it's not exactly the same. Cyan Bat. Iron-forked spear in hand, clothed in simple garb. Humble did he stand deep woods, a world of white, a perfect hunting land in sight. In the past there was a butcher named Wang in Changguang village. Orphaned at a young age, his mother couldn't support him, so she sent him to apprentice with a butcher at the foot of the mountain, where he honed his skills. With a butcher? One day a wealthy family in town was celebrating a birthday and invited Wang to slaughter pigs and sheep. Pleased with his work, the host rewarded him with a leg of pork. Oh, nice. Wang decided to bring the pork leg back to his mother and set off for the village that night. Halfway there, he saw a man by the roadside, holding a hunting spear and wearing an old cloth shirt. The man called out, "Brother, I'm a hunter from the village, trapping rabbits down this slope. I'm afraid of ghosts at night. May I walk with you?" Wang nodded in agreement, and they continued on their way. After a while, the hunter started a conversation. "Brother, have you heard? There have been reports of Yaoguais in this mountain path recently." Wang laughed. "What's there to fear about Yaoguais? I have a butcher's knife at my waist and a pork leg on my shoulder. If I encounter a Yaoguai, I swing the pork leg at it, then chop it with my knife." The hunter forced a smile. After walking a bit further, the hunter said, "Brother, you must be very skilled if you're not afraid of Yaoguais." Wang laughed again. "I've been slaughtering animals since I was a child. One strike can hit the vital spot, and one chop can break bones and tendons." The hunter, annoyed, said, "How can you compare Yaoguais to animals?" Wang replied seriously, "There are no Yaoguais in this world. Those who uphold justice are heroes. Those who bully the innocent are simply foul beasts." The hunter, unsure how to respond, walked on in silence. As the village came into view, the hunter hesitated and said, "Since you're not afraid, why not turn around and look at me?" Wang had already suspected the hunter was a Yaoguai. He swung the pork leg, knocking the hunter to the ground, and raised the knife to strike. The Yaoguai, losing its composure, quickly spread its wings and flew into the air, spitting. "Today I met a rough one, a tough one. Bad luck, bad luck." With that, it fled immediately. Now they say soft persimmons are easier to squeeze. Hence it's better to be strong, stand firm, and even Yaoguai will fear you a bit. A trap. But he told you what he's gonna do, and he still fall for it, so it's your fault. Frozen corpse. Wisdom's light seasons span. Time flows like water through our lands. Snow and wind obscure the way. Achievements drift like bubbles grand. The temple rules state, new monks entering the temple may receive a new kasaya. One day, Master Non-Void joyfully welcomed a new disciple and personally led him to the storeroom to fetch a kasaya. The young disciple found that the kasaya was made of a single layer of cloth, hardly adequate for the snowy mountains. He asked, "Master, this thin kasaya seems suitable for summer. Could I exchange it for a woolen one?" Non-Void shook his own kasaya and said, "The one I wear is the same as the one in your hands, only more ornate. With the Buddha's wisdom in your heart, you shall fear the cold no more." The young disciple, still doubtful, asked, "Master, are so many seniors frozen to death by the roadside?" Non-Void kindly replied, "Their understanding was shallow, and mine's unsteady. Yet you are different. I can see that you have the potential to comprehend the Buddha's wisdom." The young disciple, feeling proud, happily followed his master back with the kasaya. Not long after, another frozen corpse appeared outside the temple gate. As Non-Void drew, led his new disciple past it, The young disciple asked, Master, did these seniors all freeze to death? Non-void continued walking slowly and said, Fear not, my disciple. They lacked piety and wisdom, but you are different. This is a different disciple he's talking to. The first one died, if you didn't know. Yaksha Patroller. She goes up to the Lantern Warden, enslaved Yaksha. Wolf Guardian. Turtle Treasure. Thunder Rhino Master. Darkface Overlord. I can't tell. Actually, I remember Clay Vajra. Golden Lotus Guai. I'm not sure. There's no spiders. None of this. Golden Lotus Guai. Actually, there is Golden Lotus Guai. Yeah. So it goes up to Golden Lotus Guai. Oh my god, there's so much. Yaksha Patroller. In the mountains high above, a fiend blocks the way, with a hideous visage and a crooked blade in sway. As the wind howls wildly, souls seem to fade, for life's last salvation be swift and do evade. The Yakshas who migrated from the west had a great fondness for meat. Fortunately, New Thunderclap Temple did not uphold a strict rule against eating meat, which delighted the Yakshas who sought refuge there. All the Yakshas in the mountains aspired to become patrollers, not only because of their uniquely designed large sword that looked particularly imposing and could fly back to its owner with great precision, but also because the patrollers guarded the outer mountains and always had access to fresh meat. One day, the Yakshas gathered together, drinking blood, eating meat, and reveling in their merriment. Their raucous behavior soon became known throughout the temple. The overseeing monks who adhered to ascetic practices and only ate food, not of flesh, were displeased. They carried a large pot to the Yakshas. When the Yakshas peered into the pot, they saw only radishes and greens, and their appetite waned. One Yaksha derided them. Do you think eating this will help you gain a deeper understanding of Dharma? How shallow, another added. Our master said that to achieve ultimate bliss, one should not restrain one's desires. Hearing this, the supervising monk replied, My desire is to promote virtue. If I cannot persuade you, I too shall be unable to achieve ultimate bliss. Thus both sides argued heatedly, without reaching a conclusion. Alas, eating what one likes and saying what one wants are not inherently wrong. However, one's happiness should not disturb others, and one should never derive pleasure from judging those perceived to have transgressed. In this case, both sides were at fault. Okay. You can be vegan. Just don't hold it above others. And, try to lord over them. Yaksha Archer. The bow's dark snap doth kindle fright. The arrow's tip doth chaos incite. Blind eyes traded for an enlightened heart. Fate's ear deaf to a beneficent start. Oh, he's blind. In the past, the Yaksha king was betrayed by the celestial beings. Leading to the massacre of the royal family and the downfall of the Yaksha kingdom. They were betrayed for some reason. Okay. After the kingdom's collapse, the Yakshas were forced into exile. The ceremonial archers who once guarded the royal entourage clung to their former glory and refused to shed their ornate armor. Despite their exceptional archery skills, their slow shooting speed and lack of close combat prowess made their exile particularly harsh. Due to their inadequate strength, they resorted to ambushes from the shadows. The abbot assigned them to the pagoda realm for rigorous training. They endured daily torment there, especially when the Mani wheel played its beguiling chants, driving everyone mad. During these times, the blade monks would seize the opportunity to behead the archers with their large blades. leaving the Yorkshire archers desperate for a way to fight back. Man, they are both Yorkshires. Why are you fighting each other? They sought guidance from various sources, and frequently challenged the blade monks, only to be defeated repeatedly. One day, some blind monks came to oversee the pagoda realm. They had blinded themselves to pursue the path to ultimate bliss, yet their martial arts were incredibly refined. The Yorkshire archers asked for their advice, and the monks replied, "Aim too carefully and you will lose the initiative. Learn from me. Gouge out your eyes and you will shoot from the heart, never missing your mark." Yeah, because if you never aim, you will never miss, with the only other option available to them being annihilation. The archers adopted this drastic measure, gouging out their eyes. After this, the blade monks rarely targeted them. When asked why, a blade monk replied, "Who would want to go up against a madman? It's safer to just find another opponent." I'm feeling this entry is more comedic than it is serious. Starved Abomination. Abominations do roam the frosty chilling path, with swollen, rumbling bellies, necks adorned in wrath. They spread their malice freely, cunning and so sly, a fearsome presence to behold, loathsome to the eye. In the past, at the foot of New West, there was a village called Changguang. In this village lived a young man who had pledged his life to a childhood sweetheart, giving her a white jade pendant as a token of their love, and vowing to propose once he had become successful. The young man was a peddler, making a living by trading grain in the surrounding areas. One day a luxurious ferry sailed down the river near the village, more splendid than anything the villagers had ever seen. At the bow stood a plump monk in a yellow robe, radiating golden light. The villagers believed he must have been enlightened. After the arrival of the ferry, the temple in the mountains grew larger and larger, and the young man's grain trade flourished. One day the young man went to trade grain and did not return for over a month. The girl, worried, inquired about the temple's location and went there to find him. When the young man finally returned to the village, they missed each other, and the girl disappeared. The young man gathered some brave villagers to search for her in the mountains. They found no trace of her, but came across a towering pagoda by the riverbank. The young man led them there to rest. As they approached the pagoda, the door suddenly opened. Curious, someone peeked inside and screamed. Behind the door was a dungeon extending deep underground, seemingly holding many people. The villagers, filled with a righteous anger, stormed into the pagoda. After a few steps, they heard a loud bang, and the door vanished. Strange-looking Yaoguais with size and huge bellies emerged from the prison, laughing wickedly. One of them threw a bag of silvers to the young man and then eagerly leapt forward, swinging his scythe and cutting the nearest villagers into pieces. Realizing they had been deceived by the young man, the villagers fled deeper into the prison. The young man watched them and murmured, "Having lost my love, I cannot afford to lose my wealth." Did he actually lose his love? She probably died in there as well. That's one way to go about it, I guess. It's not. Red-haired Yaksha. With sword in hand, the foe's chest pierced. Blood-soaked hair, in battle fierce. Endless sorrow for a fallen land. East wind sighs as west wind stand. In the kingdom of Yaksha there were 8 great generals, one of whom was named Mian, who had once practiced under the Golden Summit Immortal at the Yuzhen Temple, located at the foot of Mount Lingshan. Having fought countless battles, he possessed the valor of a warrior who could face 10,000 enemies. And lose. When a formidable enemy attacked, the Yaksha king appointed Mian as the vanguard general. Mian set up a large camp at the border and addressed his soldiers. "If any of you fear battle, walk away now, and I won't hold it against you. But know that if we lose this foothold, the kingdom will fall. Our elders, children, and all our wealth will become the property of our enemies." With these words, he and the entire army swore a blood oath to advance and never retreat. The Yaksha army, isolated and outnumbered, faced an enemy surrounding them on all sides. Their banners blotting out the sky. Wave after wave of enemy forces attacked relentlessly. Mian and his troops fought fiercely, suffering heavy casualties. Ultimately, Mian was surrounded by numerous Ahats and was beheaded. The soldiers, countless among them, having sacrificed their lives, retrieved their general's head, placing Mian's head in his coffin. They witnessed his body slowly sit up and lament. If we lose our homeland, what difference does it make whether I have a head or not? With these words, he closed his eyes and fell back down, finally passing away as blood gushed from his neck, staining his hair red. Later, his subordinates, in a display of loyalty and bravery, poured the blood of their enemies over their heads, emulating Mian. Despite their valor, the kingdom of Yaksha was ultimately destroyed, but not a single soldier from Mian's army deserted. This was when they were fighting the celestial court. Lantern Warden. Ancient temple trees reach high. In the dungeon shadows, life's threads lie. In darkness, light appears, most vivid at the abyss near. The ancient temple on the mountain peak, weathered by the passage of time, had gradually fallen into disrepair. When the abbot returned after many years and saw the temple in such a state of ruin, he was filled with sorrow. Determined to restore the temple to its former glory, he spent a large amount of gold and silver to fund its reconstruction. Hoping to showcase his path to the ultimate bliss. The abbot selected a towering forest in the mountains, intending to use the ancient trees there as beams for the new temple. The craftsmen responsible for the timber set up their shelters at the edge of the forest and began felling trees according to the abbot's instructions. Everything proceeded smoothly, and within half a year, all the necessary timber was prepared. The craftsmen received their wages and packed up, ready to descend the mountain the next day. That night, a craftsman on night watch was patrolling this area, carrying a lantern. Suddenly, rustling sounds from the forest set his nerves on edge. Terrified, he woke everyone up, with their lanterns lit and axes in hand. All the craftsmen treaded into the forest to locate the source of the sound. As they ventured deeper into the forest, someone let out a scream and was abruptly dragged into the forest along with his lantern by an unknown force. Then one by one, despite their attempts to hide and flee, all craftsmen were all dragged away. Only one clever craftsman quickly extinguished his lantern. Trembling with fear, he groped his way through the forest. Fortunately, a faint light appeared in the distance. The sun was about to rise. With this faint light, he found his way back and hurried towards the shelters. As he reached the edge of the forest, the sunlight suddenly became blindingly bright, filling his eyes with a white glare. Enduring the pain, he looked closer and realized that the light was not from the rising sun, but from his companions' lanterns. These lanterns were held up by vines that had replaced his companions' heads, propping up their corpses. These lanterns were held up by the vines that had replaced the companions' heads, propping up their corpses. Okay. A chubby boy with a pale face, dressed in a yellow robe, rode a tall, four-legged beast, whose head emitted strange sounds. Just as the craftsman was about to plead for mercy, he felt a chill on his back. Then he felt himself being lifted higher and higher until it was level with the lanterns. The chubby child patted the beast's head. The sound ceased, the lanterns went out, and the night returned to its eerie stillness. The chubby boy laughed and said, "Good material should be used to their fullest." So he killed them and didn't pay them. Alright. Enslaved Yaksha. No true kindness, how pure and bright, yet karma binds in depths of blight. With halberd in hand, I fear their gaze, from humble roots my sorrow stays. In the northwest borderlands of the kingdom of Utah, there was a small village where an elderly couple had been childless for many years. One day the old man went into the mountains to chop wood and discovered a young child under an ancient tree. The child's skin was dark and his appearance frightening, quite different from the village children. Seeing his frail limbs and body covered in scars, the old man assumed he was a refugee and brought him home. The old woman also found the child unusual and initially wanted to send him away. However, after washing, dressing, and feeding him, she couldn't help but feel some affection for him. After some discussion, the couple decided to keep him. Never asked the child? Oh well. At first, the couple treated the child very well. But within half a year, due to his strange appearance, the villagers began to gossip and called him ugly slave. The old couple, feeling ashamed, also started to treat him less kindly and even called him the same way as the villagers did. Okay. Within 2 years, his skin turned a dark green, and the couple made him wear thick clothes to cover his entire body, forbidding him to take them off even in the scorching heat. 3 years later, the ugly slave grew more robust, and horns began to sprout from his head. The old man, increasingly fearful, confined him to the woodshed. Whenever he was angry, he would enter and whip the child. Alright. So you're scared of him, but you use him as an outlet. Alright. Sometimes even using a hatchet to cut off his horns, leaving him covered in blood. The old woman, disgusted by the sight, blamed everything on the child. She would beat him when upset, and even burn him with fire when she felt ashamed. The ugly slave endured this torment in the woodshed for another 5 years. Turns out it was Harry Potter. One day, a group of wandering Yakshas passed by and heard curses in the Yaksha tongue coming from the woodshed. They broke in and found their tormented kin. They gave the ugly slave a long halberd, and in his fury he stormed into the house and repaid the old couple for all they had done to him. Years later, the ugly slave's resentment still simmers, and only by tormenting his prey can he find any semblance of joy. So it happened for 5 years in that woodshed. 3 years being insulted and wearing thick clothes. So in all, 8 years of abuse. Yep. Falcon fan maker. The swan soars high, its plumage lush and grand. The sparrow flits low, with feathers light and bland. The noble cherish wings, not swayed by gain or loss. The wise foresee afar, their strength endures across. Feathered birds are masters of riding the wind. Among them, the gyr falcons, living in the snowy peaks, are particularly skilled in crafting magical items that control frigid gales. Right, it's these motherfuckers. I'm sure everyone hates them. They use their down feathers to create fans, which are highly prized by the wind-making mother deity and cloud-making boy deity. According to the clan rules, every gear falcon must learn the art of crafting these vessels. Those who refuse are stripped of their titles and exiled from the clan. To encourage innovation, the clan holds an annual competition where the quality of vessels produced determines one's status within the clan. One gear falcon, whose ancestors were all commoners, dreamt of creating a treasure fan that can elevate his status to nobility. He spared no feathers to enhance the power of his vessel. After much hardship, he finally crafted a fan and won the competition, becoming the clan leader. However, he had plucked all his feathers and could no longer fly, eventually resorting to wearing clothes to recover his boldness. On the day of his succession, the celestial crane immortal, head of the feathered tribe in the upper realm, came to bestow a celestial registry tablet upon him. Proud of his fan, the new leader boasted to the crane immortal. The crane immortal then lent him the plantain fan, saying, "This is the failed creation of Lord Lao. Since you also make fans, I gift it to you." After the crane immortal left, the clan leader tried the fan and was immediately disheartened by its immense power. He no longer wanted his clan members to use their feathers to make fans. He led his followers away from the snowy peaks to search for plantain leaves. Eventually, they found some near the New West, and imitating the Crane Immortal's method, created many replicas and regained his ability to fly. To make a treasured fan, it cost him his hair. I made him bald. It's like, this ain't worth it. And they found a better fan, like a failed creation of Lord Lao. It was so much better. It's like, yeah, it's not worth it. Let's just leave. Wolf Guardian. The wolf's heart was once kind and sound. Misled, however, consumed by desire, the path to return was once easily found. Yet fate was sealed by the words of a liar. There was a year when a young wolf followed a grey elder wolf to learn the art of hunting. The master taught him that a great hunter strikes swiftly and surely, sparing their prey from suffering. The young wolf pondered this long and hard. After years of training, he devised his own killing technique. He thought his master would be pleased with his progress, but instead the elder wolf scolded him for disrupting the circle of karma and told him to repent. The young wolf's mind swam with confusion at his master's seeming contradictions. And so the young wolf left Blackwind Mountain and wandered the lands. On his travel, he heard folks whisper that wolves, though hardy and loyal to each other, were brutal, vicious, and treacherous. The wolf guy grew more perplexed. It seemed his years of training went against the ways of the world. One day as he passed through the New West, he heard tales of a Dharma of ecstasy. In that place that could free a troubled mind, he sought an audience with the abbot. The abbot was a chubby monk in yellow robes, who loved to transform. He heard out the wolf guy's woes and counseled. Wolves are born to hunt, to slay. It is the way of your kind. Men are not the same. They are born to plow and plant, to reap and sow. Frail and feeble, such is their lot. They seek to leash you wolves with false preempts, for they hope to escape your fangs and claws. But heed me, wolf. Each kind must follow the call of their blood, the song of their soul. Why should you bow to the mewling of men? These words lit up the wolf guy's mind. At that moment he knew his path lay within the halls of New Thunderclap Temple, where he would walk the road to ecstasy. The chubby monk laughed. In my temple we bow to none save our own hearts. Beware, for those who fear death have no place here. The wolf guy gladly accepted and became the monk's most loyal guardian. Armed with a scythe, he is now bound by no code to save his own savage joy. Heed not a word from his tongue. Well, he's listening to this, to Yellowbrow, so I'm not sure if he's actually following Yellowbrow's suggestion. Anyway, Turtle Treasure. The human heart swings good and ill. With wealth and treasure, freedom's thrill. Riding a hammer to the sky. Tell me, is it strange or nigh? Years ago in village of Chen, a villager went out one day and saw a peculiar man standing by the roadside, holding a rope tied to a white soft-shelled turtle. Passers-by came and went, but no one paid any attention to this strange sight. The villager pretended not to notice and tried to hurry past, but the white turtle at his feet let out a pitiful cry. In his compassion, he argued with the peculiar man and eventually bought the white turtle, releasing it back into the water. That night, the villager had a dream in which the white turtle vomited out a tiny person with blue-purple skin and an ugly face. The tiny person ran towards the villager, startling him awake. Thank you, Nag. After that, the villager began to change. His eyes could see occasional glimmers of light in the mountains and fields, and his appetite grew immensely. Along with his strength, one day he took a shovel and dug into the ground. discovering a coffin filled with valuable artifacts. This unexpected found bestowed bestowed him great wealth. One night the white turtle appeared in his dream again, letting out a cry. The villager felt his stomach churn and vomited out a tiny person with blue-purple skin. The tiny person fell to the ground and hurried towards the white turtle. Realizing something, the villager grabbed the tiny person and swallowed him back down. The white turtle called out a few more times, but the villager covered his mouth, refusing to let the tiny person out. After a tense standoff, the villager woke up again. Over time, the villager's appearance became increasingly abnormal, forcing him to wear an iron mask to hide his face. Eventually, even his skin turned blue-purple, and he fled into the mountains, carrying specially made tools to search for more treasures. Interestingly, on his treasure hunting journey, he discovered that he was not the only one with such an experience, which brought him some comfort. So swallowing this blue-purple skin tiny person, he was able to find treasure, and he was unwilling to give it up. And so it turned him into a monster instead. Alright. Thunder Rhino Master. It's up to Golden Lotus. Green pines hold the lingering snow. Emerald flames guard the dim light's glow. Wandering beyond that sacred hill, true nature lies in temperance's will. Along with the fall of the Yaksha kingdom, the Rakshasa kingdom, due to their kinship with the Yakshas, also met its end. Thunder Rhino Master was a descendant of the Rakshasas. Among his relatives, many followed Princess Rakshasi after her eastward migration. Rakshasi had a new Taoist master at the celestial court, practicing Taoism in Buddhism's stead. Rakshasi marked a departure from her past. Thunder Rhino Masters, unwilling to accept this change, heard that a branch of the Yakshas was seeking Buddhist teachings in the New West and decided to come here. Unlike the Yakshas' free-spirited practice, Thunder Rhino Masters, though an outer disciple, held their master in high regard and strictly adhered to the temple's rules. Reaching the ultimate bliss was not their ultimate goal. It was simply their nature to strive with all their efforts in everything they do. Even when guarding the temple, they were relentless. If anyone disturbed the temple's peace, the lightning they summoned would pursue and strike without mercy. Such individuals could sometimes inspire admiration, but they could also be quite troublesome. Oh, it's them. Right. Dark-faced Overlord. Yeah. Seeing this picture, I don't recognize them, but I think I know what they are. They're the giants. Majestic stands that mountain's frame, its golden peak an enlightening flame. Winds and clouds by will are swayed. Heart remains clear, night and day. The grand hall was filled with pious devotees attending the ceremony. This was the fourth ceremony organized by Yellowbrow for his mortal believers. A devotee had attended 3 times, witnessing numerous miracles on each occasion. However, it was the first time for his acquaintances from their hometown to attend such a ceremony, and the acquaintance harbored deep suspicions. Before long, 2 blind monks carried in a statue of the wrathful Vajra. The devotee introduced it to his acquaintance, saying, "This Vajra can discern a person's goodness or evil." As he finished speaking, 2 men approached the statue, accusing each other over some grievances. In no time, they were reduced to ashes by the Vajra. Okay. The acquaintance was shocked by the abruptness of it all. Just then, he heard heavy footsteps outside the hall. Looking out through the window, he saw a giant with blue skin, draped in a golden spiked robe, walking slowly towards them. The devotee introduced again. This guardian can judge a person's sincerity. After saying this, the monks led the crowd to present their offerings to the guardian one by one. He reminded, make sure to give away all your money. All? The acquaintance, deeply distrustful of the devotee's words, said, "You've been deceived by them. These monks are all frauds." The devotee retorted angrily, "How can you speak so recklessly? Why would I deceive you, being from the same hometown? Who knows if you're in cahoots with them?" The argument grew louder and louder. The Vajra, seeing their quarrel, raised its steel fork and charged at them. The acquaintance quickly fled, but the devotee shouted, "Don't be afraid, I'll prove my sincerity." The Vajra showed no hesitance. Just when the acquaintance thought his fellow townsman was doomed, the blue-skinned giant raised his hand and blocked the Vajra, saving the devotee's life. From then on, the acquaintance became a regular at the ceremonies, always making sure to give away all his money before leaving, just like his fellow townsmen. Well, I guess he's a good guy. Always threw rocks at me, though. Clay Vajra. With an iron trident, a wrathful Vajra stands, angry eyes blazing, a fiery, fearsome brand. All beings bear their sins, for that is what they say. Burn them, guilty all, for peace to truly stay. The Buddhist scriptures describe the Vajra as a guardian warrior of the Buddha, tasked with upholding justice and eradicating sin. Since the fat monk in yellow took back the new Thunderclap Temple, magnificent new pavilions and pagodas were built to hold gatherings of his devotees and attract more believers. During one such gathering, two devotees met for the first time in the main hall. Upon seeing each other, they immediately felt a surge of suspicion and wariness. At that moment, the abbot had a statue of Vajra carried in. The statue stood on 4 legs, wielding a steel trident, with a wrathful expression, but it had a peculiar hole in its chest. The abbot introduced the statue, explaining that it was a newly crafted and imbued with a particular spiritual power that could discern right from wrong. One of the devotees hurried to the Vajra and said, "May the Vajra eradicate all deceitful swindlers in the world and grant me justice." This man was known for being gullible and often fell victim to ruses, yet he never dared to seek retribution. The other devotee quickly followed, saying, "May the Vajra eradicate those who gain unfair advantages and then complain incessantly, granting me peace." This man was a dishonest merchant who frequently sold substandard goods and was often persecuted and cursed by his own customers. Hearing each other's wishes, the two began to argue fiercely in front of the statue. The Vajra's eyes suddenly moved. With a swift motion of its trident, it killed both men. Flames then erupted from its 4 legs, incinerating their bodies completely. News of this event spread quickly, shocking the folks around the temple. Some accused the abbot of using sorcery to deceive people, while others praised his profound Buddhist wisdom and extraordinary powers. Regardless, no one dared to disrespect him. I know this first part sounds like he's disrespecting him, but... Alright, last one for Act 3. Golden Lotus Guai. Auspicious clouds above, unaware of worldly strife. Descendants scattered far, seeking out a better life. Ancient texts state that whenever bodhisattvas and Buddhas manifested their divine presence, golden lotuses bloomed from the earth, radiating brilliance. As time passed, these golden lotuses grew increasingly discontent. They saw the rat of Mount Lingshan, who became a king by stealing lamp oil, the carp of the southern sea, who became a great lord by stealing Guan Yin's lotus flowers, and even the scorpion that stung the Buddha, gaining the power and became a powerful Yaoguai. In contrast, despite their diligent service, the golden lotuses received nothing. After careful consideration, they decided to entrust the burden of greatness to their descendants. They scattered their seeds across the mortal realm, hoping they would become Yaoguais of power and eventually earn a title in the upper realm. However, the golden lotuses did not anticipate the path to greatness to be that arduous in the mortal world. With many intelligent and brave mortal beings also seeking enlightenment, the competition was fierce and brutal. The golden lotuses then tried various methods, transforming into women to deceive men and steal their vital essence. Yeah, the vital essence. Only to be recognized and slain by Taoists. transforming into old men to use their wits to deceive and devour scholars, only to be seen through and mocked. Such attempts were numerous and often futile. Trials and tribulations made the golden lotuses gradually realize that their original form, the auspicious flowers indicating the Buddha's presence, had a better chance of success. Hence they went to the temples using their auspiciousness to lure people into picking them, only to devour them afterward. Alas, if one seeks to perceive the world solely in pursuit of quick success, how complex the world becomes. Cause and effect are intertwined, and fate is mysterious. Every step taken is predestined. Oh. Finally. Done with lesser Yaoguais. Next up is Chiefs. I'll do a little combat to rest a bit. Behind him? Really? You bastard, come back here. Maybe I should get immobilized so they stop moving. But whatever. Alright. Let's fight the dragon and then I'll get to reading again. Oh, that's the wrong timing. Actually, I think you can still grab through that. So that was a poor choice on my part. Shut up. Perfect. shit. Get that now.
回，就别想再轻易涅槃。
It's a perfect atmosphere to read about the chiefs. Anyway, chiefs. What are we up to? Well, the stones target I climb. The captains, sure. So captains, then it goes to from the sea. Wukong chief, definitely. Okay, it goes to Wukong chief. All right. Okay, Captain Lotus Vision. All things are by nature void. There is no wax or wane. For pride and arrogance your golden form is shattered. From the rift shines Buddha's light, majestic and boundless. With the glaring rays flashing, startling, breaking, you forget the teachings and fall into the false. You are alone, isolated, crippled. Dancing, prancing like a deity or a ghost, no less. Here the wise go mad, the brave turn bad. The kind face duress. Tainted by worldly dust, your practice is in a mess. May your body enlighten the world and quell your proud and overbearing, merging light and darkness. Void illusion. Contemplating the myriad forms, returning to the essence of nature. With arrogance ablaze, his limbs torn, he boasted of truth, 1,000 hands adorned. Yet the void illusion deceived and beguiled, mourned and lamented, your spirit defiled. With bonds severed, in nirvana you were exiled. In silence, in solitude, in tranquility, how painful it was to face death in clarity, detached from bitterness and pain. Blessed your flesh and blood through resentment shall remain. May you cease the debate of falsehood and truth, as the tide rises cleansing with its mighty soothe. Captain Counterwave. Within a flick of the finger, a lotus flowers bloom and wither. Thought yourself mighty, yet ended up headless. From your blood and pus, lotus flowers bloomed restless, coaxed, enticed, and stabbed by the words of auspiciousness. Your link to Buddha's wisdom severed, your mind lost in the incense dust, breathless. The truest of the truth, the kindest in kindness, and the fairest in fairness. You sought and lost, principles shattered, head twisted and body crossed. Tenderness forsaken you, your uprights exhaust. Eyes clouded, stars dimmed in frost. May your body bring prosperity, and the red lotus thrives in hostility. A Pramana bat, dwelling in a Buddha's form, with wings to ride the wind storm. An iron heart through toil it sings, a golden shell in splendor it springs. Years ago in mountains remote, there was a small temple built by the local villagers. The temple was unattended, housing only a black statue with dried lamps and an empty censer. One day a wandering swordsman passed by and decided to spend the night in the temple before continuing his journey. As he was drifting off to sleep, he suddenly heard the sound of wind behind him. Opening his eyes slightly, he saw the statue on the altar sprout wings and take flight. The creature had scythe-like claws on its feet. Terrified, the swordsman quickly rolled over, drew his sword and engaged in a fierce battle with the statue. eventually slaying it. Next morning, the villagers gathered outside the temple, bringing flowers and wine to thank the swordsman for ridding them of the Yaogwai. They explained that many such temples in the mountains were inhabited by these Yaogwai disguised as statues and asked the swordsman to eliminate them all. Seeing the villagers had brought a great deal of silver, greed overtook him, and he agreed, asking them to lead the way. Surrounded by the villagers who praised and urged him on, the swordsman was led deep into the forest to a larger ancient temple. As soon as he entered the hall, he saw incense burning high and candles glowing brightly. On the altar sat a larger statue, similar in appearance to the one he had killed before, but coated in gold, with a particularly majestic and imposing presence. Sensing danger, the swordsman tried to flee, but the statue took flight, flapping its wings to unleash a frosty wind that froze him in place. Watching the golden statue use its hooked claws to pierce the swordsman's shoulders and drag him into the back of the temple, the villagers all knelt and made their wishes. The next day, everything they had wished for appeared at their doorsteps. And he was the offering. It's very, they all have a similar theme. Langli Gulang. Unafraid of the northern chill, with skin like jade, it loves the thrill. Mist turns to frost and snow. In icy play its spirit grows. Picking up from where we left off, that Taoist who had fled in disgrace spent several years in secluded meditation in the mountains, mastering the Five Thunder technique until he could wield it with perfect ease. Confident in his abilities, he set out once more. During his journey, he captured a small electric tadpole and confined it within his gourd. As he passed through the snowy mountains, the tadpole began to stir restlessly inside the gourd, signaling the presence of a frog nearby. Following the signs, he arrived at a deep, icy pool in a valley and indeed found a giant frog, covered in frost and lying dormant by the shore. Without hesitation, the Taoist unleashed a thunderbolt at the frog, expecting it to be struck down instantly. To his surprise, the frog leaped high into the air and dodged the attack. Unperturbed, the Taoist cast another thunderbolt, but the frog evaded it again, hopping closer with each leap. Learned from the past, the Taoist retreated several steps, thinking himself clever. However, to his surprise, the frog stood on its hind legs, puffed out its chest, lunged forward, and knocked the Taoist off balance with its large belly. As he prepared to strike back, the frog opened its mouth and blew gusts of icy wind, freezing him in place. Just as the frog was about to devour him, a group of monks appeared from the other side of the pool. Seeing the Taoist frozen there, they drove the frog away, narrowly saving his life. Why is he hunting frogs anyway? Well, they are Yaogwai. Old Ginseng Guai scatters over the mountain's crest, rich soil births, dews of the best, 7 ounces common, 8 ounces rare. A slight difference fortunes lay bare. This story was told by a pharmacist in the city, and it concerns a secret about his cousin's family. The cousin's ancestors were originally ginseng gatherers in the mountains. For some unknown reason, they abandoned their old craft and became woodcutters. Although the family was not wealthy, everyone lived long lives. From a young age, the cousin often saw a shabby, unkempt old man visiting their home. Whenever he came, the family would prepare a lavish meal and fine wine for him to enjoy alone. At times, the cousin despised the old man, thinking he was a freeloading drunkard who seldom spoke and often caused trouble when drunk. One day, the old man visited again for a drink, while the cousin's great-grandmother fell gravely ill with typhoid fever. Seemingly on the brink of death, upon hearing about her critical condition, the old man went into the courtyard, reached into the ground with both hands and out crawled numerous vines. Among the vines grew a small seedling that quickly matured, blossomed, and bore fruit. The old man pulled it out, revealing a millennium ginseng. After the great-grandmother drank the ginseng soup, she miraculously recovered and remains healthy to this day. It was on that day that the cousin seemed to come to a realization and began to treat the old man with great respect, as if he were a member of the family. The cousin once invited the pharmacist to move to the mountains and live with him, but the pharmacist flatly refused. The pharmacist explained, "Although your family enjoys longevity, they live on bland meals every day, and life in deep mountains are too lonely. I still prefer to live in the city. Hence I cannot go with you. Just take the story as a fun anecdote. Alright. Non-white. A jester's face with powder white, a cunning form both sly and slight, boldly plays the leading role, yet remains an actor lost in the whole. In the village of Torluo, there was a small opera troupe of about a dozen members. Watching their performances was considered the most luxurious entertainment within miles. Among the troupe was an actor who specialized in playing the jester. He always painted his face white, and the villagers would snicker whenever they saw him. The jester was deeply frustrated. Since childhood, he had dreamed of playing a heroic role on stage. To join the troupe, he had worked as an unpaid servant for the troupe leader for a year. He trained tirelessly, regardless of the weather or his health. Yet he ended up being a subject of ridicule. The jester suggested a role switch. However, everyone said he lacked the righteous aura needed for such a heroic role. Disbelieving their words, the jester took on the role of the hero without notifying the cast during the performance, and beat up the hero on stage. The audience was furious. They destroyed the stage and left without paying. The jester was condemned by the troupe, while the beaten hero was comforted. In a fit of rage, the troupe leader expelled the jester from the group. Despite much reflection, the jester couldn't understand why he suffered such reprimand. Wait, gave a bad show. He beat someone up. Eventually, he concluded that it was his appearance that was the problem. Thus, with 2 poisoned daggers, he waited in an alley and killed the hero actor. He peeled the man's face and wore it, hoping to take over his life. Oh, by God. The next day, when it was time for a hero to appear on stage, the jester wearing the actor's face stepped forward and sang passionately. Initially, the audience was deceived, but later they were horrified. Believing the jester had gone mad, they tied him up and sent him to a temple 1,000 miles away for seclusion. Upon seeing him, the abbot of the temple was overjoyed. He named the jester Non-White, and even created a unique practicing technique combining poison and frost for him. The abbot told him that the destined one would come and help him master this technique, and he could become a true hero if he could wear the face of the destined one. From the day on, no one dared to walk the mountain path guarded by Non-White, fearing that they might encounter him wearing someone else's face. Oh my God. So that's what he was saying, what he meant. It'll fit me just as well. Non-pure. A wide heart, a plump form, a belly so grand. A fierce look, drooping lips, a visage unplanned. Steadfast as a mountain, he stays still. From toil he hides, guarding the temple's hill. In the vast sky, snowflakes drifted down, covering the exquisite palaces and towers, and blanketing the mountain ridge year after year without ceasing for a moment. In stark contrast to this relentless snow, Non-Pure was someone who constantly sought to shirk his duties and laze around. One day while Non-Pure was on guard in the side hall, ready to respond to his master's call at any moment, he heard the sounds of a fight outside. Thunder Rhino Master came running to report that some unknown Yaogwai from the mountains was trying to force his way in to see their master. Non-Pure nonchalantly replied, "You go out and deal with him first. I'll grab my spade and join you shortly." After Thunder Rhino Master left the side hall, Non-Pure sat back down on his meditation cushion, reclining lazily. Outside, the Yaogwai loudly demanding to see the Buddha of the future and to become his disciple, while the sounds of the fight grew more intense. Thunder Rhino Master returned to ask for help again, but Non-Pure stood up and said, "You and the 2 overlords hold him off. Don't let him in. My spade's blade is a bit dull. I'll come once I've sharpened it." After a while, the noise outside quieted down. Thunder Rhino Master came back to report that the Yaogwai seeking guidance had been accidentally killed by the overlords. Non-Pure praised, "You did well. Throw the body into the dry well so it doesn't dirty this place." Hearing this, Thunder Rhino Master sighed inwardly, lamenting the Yaogwai's ill fate. If another brother had been on guard, perhaps the Yaogwai might have actually met their master. Unexpectedly, when discarding the body, Thunder Rhino Master discovered that the Yaogwai had talismans for summoning fire and lightning stuck to his body, indicating that he had come seeking revenge against their master. At this news, Thunder Rhino Master was both shocked and secretly relieved. Not that he could hurt the master, but still. Non-able. Ah, this guy. Amidst the snow, a monk so strange, before the wall in northern wind's range. With martial arts he seeks true zen, bind his hands but not his spirit then. Non-able was unmatched in his martial arts skills, with no one in his temple able to rival him. One day Yellowbrow summoned him and offered to teach him some skills. However, Non-able replied, "Master, I believe my martial arts are sufficient to overcome any foe. There's no need for other skills." Yellowbrow laughed and said, "Your straightforward approach shows a lack of adaptability. How can you progress further if you bind yourself in such a way?" Non-able responded, "Master, if I use methods I do not believe in to achieve victory, even if I win in the end, I will still feel like I did not win the fight and unable." Methods he does not believe in. Yellowbrow asked, "Do you not agree with your master's path?" Non-able replied, "Master, you have always taken a clever route, which is why it is difficult for me to attain Buddhahood. For you to attain Buddhahood. It seems you can do everything, but in reality you can do nothing." Yellowbrow chuckled softly at this, and ordered Non-able's hands to be tied behind his back, instructing him to reflect on his actions in front of the stone wall outside the temple. He thought that after a few days of kneeling, Non-able will let go of his stubbornness. However, Non-able remained resolute, and to this day refuses to bow his head. Oh, he roasted his master. Can't do that. Yeah, this guy that would hamstring himself so he can actually have a better challenge. Non-void. Neither dead nor truly alive. A dreamer left behind. One step missed cost half a lifetime. Few disciples know when Non-void took his vows and became a monk. They only know that he was among the earliest to follow their master, making him the most senior, and entrusted to many of the temple's affairs. He rarely left the hall, seemingly always engrossed in endless sutra recitations. He was also highly skilled in poetry and painting, having depicted various Buddhas in the West on the myriad aspects of worldly life. Yet he never cherished his creations, often discarding them carelessly after finishing. When asked why, he would say, "I see no true self. Non-void is but void. It's all an illusion, so why hold on to it?" Though Non-void seldom left the hall, he enjoyed engaging others in debates about Buddhist doctrines. One day Non-able approached him and asked, "Brother, is killing a sin?" Non-void replied, "Killing is a sin, but if it's for the sake of the greater good, then it is not a sin." Non-able countered, "And what is the greater good?" Non-void answered, "Is the realization of void, the fulfillment of virtue, ascending to the land of bliss." Non-able questioned further, "Killing not only fails to resolve karma, but also creates more entanglements and obstacles. How can one ascend to bliss then?" Non-void responded, "If I do not enter hell, who will? If not killing leaves harm for others, isn't that a greater lack of virtue?" Non-able laughed, "Brother, you yourself said you would enter hell, which shows that killing is wrong no matter what. Good ones naturally receive blessings. There's no need for you to make things complicated." Non-void hastily explained, "Entering hell is just a metaphor. The essence is to suffer for others." Non-able interrupted, "Nonsense. Killing is killing. No need for all these convoluted justifications, brother. The pretense behind justifying killing is the real sin." Hearing this, the Non-void was momentarily speechless, as if reminded of something from the past. From that day on, the two never debated again. Well, yeah, it is killing, but I understand both point of view. Like if someone was about to kill someone, then you prevent it by killing that person, then have you sinned? A lot to think about. Monk from the sea. Bitter Lake's expanse, no end in sight. The ferryman of enlightenment he sought day and night. Low means may tempt, but yield no gain. True greatness takes flight in honor's domain. Years ago, Yellowbrow crossed the Bitter Lake on a towered ferry. Upon disembarking, he discovered some strange fish clinging to the ship's hull. These fish, known as Hilo, had a single head but 10 bodies. 10 bodies? Making them bizarre and fearsome. And actually delicious. I mean, when the fish saw Yellowbrow approaching, they wondrously bowed and made noises, indicating their desire to follow him and escape the bitter lake. Yellowbrow laughed and said, "With your strange forms, others would surely reject you, but I find it interesting to take in what ordinary people would not." With that, he accepted these strange fish as his disciples, clothed them, and taught them how to read and transform into human forms. He even allowed them to practice freely within the realm of the New West. One of the fish guys was particularly robust and had a fierce temperament. After mastering some techniques, he would ambush at various spots in the temple, waiting for opportunities to attack. Yellowbrow when he went out, striking without mercy. Yellowbrow, however, enjoyed these encounters and would seriously engage in combat with the fish guy. Most of the time, he would simply sweep it out of the hole with a swing of his spike-shaft cudgel. Despite repeated defeats, the fish guy realized that close combat was futile. It independently devised a technique involving throwing snowballs with its limbs, hitting targets with uncanny accuracy. Once in the Forest of Felicity, even Yellowbrow was hit several times by snowballs, nearly freezing into an ice block. Instead of getting angry, Yellowbrow was delighted and unprecedentedly bestowed a new title upon the Halo fish guy, monk from the sea. Then assigned it the task of cleaning the inner courtyard, which conveniently allowed it to ambush anyone it wished to, especially Yellowbrow himself. Now, though they followed the same master, the disciples' experiences and purposes in their practice varied greatly, leading to vastly different treatments. And these are the motherfuckers with the whiskers. Throwing snowballs and making everyone freeze. They're bastards. And they're so tanky too. Macaque Chief. Once chief among the ranks. His countenance dark, in crimson silk pants, a striking mark. With icy blows he mocks their plight, a jesting with his foes left in a fright. The macaque chief knelt with his back hunched, folding his dark wings before the golden Buddha statue at the feet of Yellowbrow. Yellowbrow raised his head, pinching the feathers, and said, "Such crude methods. The one who dared to use them on you monkeys was truly ignorant of the ways of the world." With that, he waved his spike-shaft cudgel, and speckles of will poured over the macaque chief, shining like the galaxy. The black wings trembled and retracted back into the monkey's back. The macaque chief was stunned and reached to touch his back, overjoyed. Yellowbrow laughed heartily. "You are a chief under Sun Wukong. Now that he is dead, you need not wonder any more. I am rebuilding the new Thunderclamp Temple to save all from suffering. Why not stay here?" Seeing the macaque chief hesitate, Yellowbrow continued, "I know you have endured much hardship. To rank among the high, one must first toil among the low. You have already been low and toiled. Now join me and my teachings will elevate you among the highest." The macaque chief scratched his head, seeming tempted. Yellowbrow added, "In this world the weak are often oppressed, while the strong act with impunity. The suffering you endured was ultimately due to the lack of power. Think about it. If you had the abilities of that monkey who wreaked such havoc in the Celestial Palace, there would have been others who would have suffered." Recalling the bitterness of hardship of the past years, the macaque chief couldn't help but shed tears. He quickly prostrated himself in the feet of the fat monk, kowtowing repeatedly. Yellowbrow laughed heartily, unfastened the sack at his waist, and placed macaque chief inside. "Very well, I'll teach you now," he said. Alright. Then Yellow Kings and then characters. Although I don't think there'll be too much. Let's go kill the boss. Actually, I think I'll get out of this realm. Let's speedrun it. Come on, man. This the right way? I think it's this way. Okay, just run. Don't worry about it, just run. Keep running. Not sure what the hell he's shooting at, but whatever. These are the blade monks. Great. It's gonna begin again. I'll just keep running. Son of a bitch. Still not immune to full damage. Fucking damn it. You're shot in midair. wonder, since he's over here, can I just knock him off with the bell? Not quite. The fuck? Want you to jump forward, not down? Oh, damn it.
是求活，还有什么对错？
I don't think I'm supposed to be down here. No. Did I miss the stairs? Son of a bitch. Ah, here it is. bad most things can't get poisoned. Otherwise I would be poisoning them all the time. Yeah. Holy shit. I think I hit its head. Thought I dodged in time. Going down, you son of a bitch. We only have to do that. Goodbye. Captain Wiseass. Wonder if this refills my gourd. Probably wouldn't. It does. Nice. Anyway, now we're clear of that fucking noise. I'll be right back. And then we'll read a boss or a king. Alright. We're up to kings. Yellow Wind say, alright, Kanjin Long, Kanjin Star, Captain Wise Voice, Cyan Long, Yellow Brow. Well, that's very little. Alright, Kanjin Long. Halfway to the west, the journey long, returning to the homeland where dreams belong, strengthening and weakened by the mighty sack, principles falter on a misguided track. Kanjin Long, one of the 28 constellations, is the second constellation of the Zhuolong of the East. With a sharp horn on her forehead, she once drilled through the gold symbols to rescue the great sage. Since then, the constellation officers had upheld the principle of staying sharp, leading many immortals to believe that some strange influence had invaded their consciousness. One day during the roll call in the Dome of Stars, a Dawn Star was missing. Despite thorough inquiries, no one knew his whereabouts. Coincidentally, the Yellowbrow returned to the New West to host a grand ceremony, inviting various Yaoguais, gods, immortals, and Buddhas to attend. Hearing the news, Kanjin Long sought permission from the Celestial Court to attend their ceremony, intending to secretly investigate the Dawn Star's disappearance. However, like the Dawn Star, Kanjin Long also vanished without a trace. The constellation officers speculated and compared notes, realizing that both the Dawn Star and Kanjin Long had once done the Great Sage big favors. They suspected a connection with the Great Sage. Reflecting on their past interactions with the Great Sage, they grew fearful. Queen Mu Wolf scoffed. Though the monkey ruined my plans, I still respect him. But you all, who always boasted about your friendship with that monkey, why are you silent now? Because now he's a criminal, and now people are not supposed to like him. But that's the connection? I would say the connection is Yellowbrow. But, you know, whatever. Kanjin Star. Long Maiden, Kanjin Fair. White Horns by Emerald Sea. Ambition beyond mortal care. Grace unmatched, wild and free. Black and white entwined. Old friends hard to find. Under a wind's blade and frost's cold blow, she dances still in swirling snow. Despite Kanjin Lung's long wait, no constellation officer defended to her aid. Yellowbrow laughed. You young lady, your high opinion of yourself is precisely why you've ended up like this, an utter loser. Kanjin Lung replied. As long as I haven't begged for mercy, winning or losing is irrelevant. Not antagonized, Yellowbrow said calmly. You wouldn't take such a risk just for that lookout cockerel. You must be curious about that monkey. Kanjin Lung remained silent. I do have something of that monkey's right here in this sack. With that, he untied the sack from his waist. Kanjin Lung recognized it as the sack that had once captured them and scoffed. What's so special about it? It's not like I haven't been in it before. Well, if you really want to know about him, you have to see for yourself. With that, Kanjin Lung was sucked into the sack. As she entered the sack, she seemed to see a 10-tailed goldfish swimming towards her. Not long after, when Yellowbrow released her, the constellation officer had become dazed and bewildered. Seeing this, Yellowbrow laughed heartily. Well, is he still the hero you remember? Kanjin Lung asked. Is he along with all the gods and Buddhas in the celestial realm all like this? Yellowbrow neither confirmed nor denied it. After a long while, Kanjin Lung suddenly knelt on the ground and uttered, Please, master, accept me as your disciple. Seemingly, he has tamed the great sage, but it didn't. It's just a relic that he took. The golden carp. 10-tailed goldfish. Captain Wise Ass. A wise voice? The voice enlightens all. For pride and wisdom you lost your debate. In ecstasy beyond measure your true self is complete. The waves of Dharma flooding, engulfing, overwhelming. Your mindfulness is lost in the world of evil. You question the sky, the earth, and Buddha. One wrong step and every step thereafter repeats. Here the winner loses, the losers win. The risen falls, the fallen rises. You know how to save the lost in evil's heartbeat. May your body serve this land since. The teachings of golden form shrouds all beings in their deceit. Sign Long. With a sharp sword, Long's light is called. Fishing alone in the bitterness, nothing caught. The hidden Long waits to soar the sky. In fallen to the dust, its flame will fly. The boundless bitter lake. The Buddha's ferry saves only the willing. Without the willingness, nothing can be done. Sign Long fishing alone on Turtle General's back is one such case. When Sign Long arrived in the New West seeking refuge, he briefly encountered Yellowbrow, disliking Yellowbrow's teachings on the path to bliss, which he deemed utter nonsense. He knew better than to offend him if he wished to stay on his domain. Thus he claimed his intention to fish in the bitter lake. If he could catch a living thing, it would signify his bond with the ultimate bliss, granting him the right to remain in the blessed land undisturbed. Yellowbrow knew this was merely a stalling tactic, but found the idea amusing and agreed to it, with one condition. Once the fishing rod was cast, it could not be moved. So as the fisher, if he moves, it would prove that San Long had ulterior motives and was deceitful, and he would be immediately captured and sent to the dungeon. San Long readily agreed and kept his word. He transformed his long light sword into a hookless fishing rod, sat on the turtle's back, and did not move again. Every day the lesser guards would come to the turtle's back to check on him, expecting they would not last long in the cold and hunger. But each time they came, they only saw the snow accumulating thicker and thicker on his body until it completely covered him. The guards could not understand why he would endure such hardship when a simple bow or a bit of minor contribution to Yellowbrow could earn him a comfortable life. There are truly people in this world who would rather endure 1,000 hardships and abandon their lofty aspirations. They carry a world on their own hearts, unmoved by their circumstances. He had his pride, his dragon pride. Yellowbrow. Indulging in desires, I am carefree. No fears, no sorrows, just pure glee. In land of bliss, the 8 precepts, I laugh with delight. Inherent in nature blooms a tower of light. In the west, on the peak of Mount Lingshan, 2 men sat facing each other. Clouds billowed and the air crackled with tension. The young monk looked up at the sky, then pressed his palms together and bowed to another monk with brows yellow. Our masters are all here, brother. Are you ready? The yellow-brown monk smiled and returned the bow. I have been ready for some time. The Ulambana Assembly, held once every 500 years, had come to the stage of debate for graduating disciples. The young monk raised a hand, signaling the brother to ask the first question. Tell me, brother, said the yellow-brown monk, what is the meaning of life? To seek truth, replied the young monk. And what is truth? The way all things move, the primary law of the universe. The yellow-brown monk said nothing but brought out a flower, its petals first drooping, gradually unfurled in glorious bloom. Gazing at the flower, he said, Observe it. By following its nature, it undergoes such wondrous changes. He then gently sniffed the flower and said, Every flower that blooms releases a unique fragrance. This is the essence of its life, bursting forth for its own propagation. He let go and the flower drifted away. To feel such a moment to the fullest, that is bliss. The young monk shook his head. A moment's pleasure leads to an eternity of pain. One will be trapped in a cycle never at peace. Yellow-brown monk said, On my recent journey down the mountain, I saw parents who, driven by hunger, exchanged their children for food. I saw dissolute sons of wealthy families who, consumed by lust, brought ruin to the moral order. The young monk frowned, looking at his senior brother. The yellow-brown monk confirmed. I continued. I saw learned scholars who, craving glory, suppressed the dissents. I saw great generals who, thirsting for gain, massacred entire clans. The young monk remained unshaken. He said evenly, Brother, do you not see? Those parents who traded their child for a meal will regret it all their lives. Those dissolute sons, living without restraint, died in an instant with their joy. The scholars who suppressed dissent, Once they fell from power, they were reviled by all. The generals who loved slaughter, they could never rest easy, undone by their own sins. The yellow-browed monk retorted, "Nonsense." Young Monk was slightly taken aback. Nonsense? Their struggle, their joy, their determination, and their pleasure. The endless cycle of sorrow and ecstasy never ceased, and never sated, said the yellow-browed monk. And this is the very source of the boundless vitality across the three realms. How then should it not be the true meaning of all life? And those who set themselves up as false idols, given time, their pretensions are always unmasked. They become a joke in nursery rhymes, and a laughing stock in the pages of history. Brother, why do you praise the suffering of karmic cycles as you spurn the truth of liberation and enlightenment? The yellow-browed monk said, Brother, without joy and sorrow, what is there to enlighten? The young monk said, Where lies enlightenment? It is but suffering, plain and clear. The yellow-browed monk bellowed, In pain one finds revel, and in revel pain. Without both there is no redemption. And the cycle of sorrow, ecstasy never ceased, never sated. Anyway, let's continue. I would like to say that I understood Yellowbrow's debate, but I don't quite. Yeah, I don't quite understand that debate. Maybe I'm just not enlightened enough. Or maybe they simply need to use a simpler analogy. Is there a way to make this spin faster? I don't know, I find it hilarious. It's the fish guy. It's a shame there's no boss here. Or whatever. Next one to defeat. Kanjin Star. Actually, it's this guy, isn't it?
巧了巧了，一起赏雪吟诗。你俩且够着。小心小心！
What are you doing, vomiting on me? Oh, whoops. You know what, it doesn't matter.
也喝不下。而主权一刀不放。
Didn't actually mean to transform, but whatever.
地上画个圈儿，凭他什么虎豹狼虫、妖魔鬼怪，哼，拒莫敢进。
Anyway, where's the next area? I think it's over here. I don't think this is the way. To follow the flames, but I don't know what the flames are. Must be up here. Oh boy. That's just great. Do you really have to hit me? Not great. The hell? I'm back here again. Easy. Appear to be lost. Or maybe I need to go this way. Oh, damn it. Long time no see, more like long time no hear. Okay, yeah, this is it. So I think this is an actual mountain, but when I slide down, that'll be where the turtle is. At this point. That's the turtle. Enjoying your dinner, Z? Why can't I skip this?
元帅还是不肯归顺吗？再忍一时三刻，怕是就要化为冷血了。
好妹妹，
Is it actually supposed to be hot in there?
就等你进来与我一起双修了。
元帅说笑了。你若放下执念，我自然会劝师傅放了你，到时便可同修大道。
哎，我可消受不起。看来那老贼得了师兄的玩意儿，果然功力大涨，连你这东天小官都被训得服服帖帖。不过听这动静，天命人已平了塔下的精神。好妹妹，估着这金疙瘩要等不到你师傅来开喽。
这金挠是祖师爷的法宝，小小天命人，如何破得了？
Apparently, yes, there is a collaboration with Honkai Impact and Star Rail. Even though they're pretty much the same game anyway. Well, not really. They're going in vastly different directions. But they have the same character, that's the same lore and stuff. Like an alternate universe, I would say.
你唤醒了龟将，你怎知这下面是他？
什么舍不得归不归的？刚刚闻到一股骚味，这味道好生亲切，忍不住敲锣应接。
师傅惜你父性，饶你一命，让你在浮屠塔底清修，既不识相，小西天的极乐之境，怕是与你无缘了。
Poison. I would like it if they shoot faster, but whatever. Hey, just sit still for a second. I wonder if I can sure out the sky. Not quite. Nope. That didn't work. Yes, of course. He totally didn't lose that time. Missing. It's fucking useless. Wait, actually, can I get rid of him like this? That was worth a try. Not really, no. That hurt like hell. Don't chuck me away. I thought that was dodge fine. Evidently not. Sit back down. Good shot. Oh my god. I can't block that one. Just stay right there. Stay. Oh, that's not good. I still play Monster Hunter.
果没说错，
No.
猴子最是冥顽，
I can't be bothered doing the endless grind, man.
这金脑给我想打开！
Now, I think I fought every single monster there is, but yeah, they just keep getting new variations are getting stronger and stronger. So and then you need better armor and better weapons. The grind is very serious there. I think it's even more so than Warframe. I'm an amazing shooter. I wouldn't say that. Alright, let's skip this.
算了算了，正事要紧。这只老龟，我倒有几分交情。
Let's get to the new place and then get a
黄
new
眉
shrine
老
and
怪不同
read
别
some
个妖王，花
lore.
果山那只老猢狲特地没我来处理，生怕你中了他的算计。他和我说，只要凑齐6根，便能救活大师兄。哼，我且信他一回。我先去叙叙旧，你四处查看一番。
You can just see him flying around. What do you mean? I just got here. Should teach me that wind trick of yours.
龟老弟，这么多年被封在这鸟不拉屎的地方，苦了你了。你放心，等靠岸了，我一定上去先砸了那小破庙，给你和蛇兄弟报仇。 我懂，这世道，活着、死了，都不如变回石头疙瘩。你呀，空长了许大年纪，耿耿夜夜的成何体统？哎呀，知道，哎呦，别哭了，老师在这候着，我去看看你那兄弟怎样了。
We got something new to craft. Really? Oh, what the hell? Stormflash Longstaff. The hell? Where'd this come from? Draws thunder while charging and inflicts thunder damage with every staff attack when in shocked state. When I'm in shock state or when they're in shock state? Can't believe it. New weapons. Anyway. It's time for the characters. Where am I up to? Keeper of the New West. Yes. Chupachier. Venom Taoist. Is it just these two? Keeper of the New West. The third prince, maybe. Green cap martial artists. The Fox. The Fox is here, but Total General is it? So it's Total General to Chupachier. Okay. Makes it more reasonable now. Alright, we'll read about Total General. Completing Swan Yu's name. Swan Wu's name. The turtle and the snake. Cycles end and cycles start. The Yaoguais they break. In frozen realms of ice and snow they honor nature's call. United hearts in decay, better to die than living in pain. Oh, that's what you just said. Better to die. Better to live as a stone or whatever. The New West, above the Bitter Lake. The turtle and snake generals revealed their true forms. A turtle general, as massive as Mount Tai, landed in the lake, causing huge waves. The snake general, resembling the mythical Julong, coiled around a mountain ridge, shaking the earth. Alright, CNZ. Yellowbrow showed no fear, wielding a spike shaft cudgel, strong and flexible, engaging the two generals in fierce combat. The turtle sprayed water and the snake breathed fire, almost gaining the upper hand. Suddenly Yellowbrow threw an object into the Bitter Lake, which transformed into a 10-tailed golden fish. The fish grew rapidly upon contact with water, entangling the turtle general. The snake general intended to assist, but Yellowbrow untied a sack from his waist, releasing a strange beast. This creature had a gilded body and a Buddha's head, with sharp claws on its feet. On the shore engaged in a fierce and evenly matched battle with the snake general. Yes, this the bat. I forgot the name. As the four clashed and shouted, Yellowbrow stood on the cliff, chanting. Suddenly a freezing wind howled, and a heavy snowstorm descended, blanketing thousands of miles and freezing the lake's surface. Despite their immortality, the turtle and snake were bound by their natural instincts to hibernate in the cold. Gradually they grew weary and exhausted, their eyelids heavy with fatigue. After countless rounds, the turtle general, unable to endure any longer, sank into the icy depths of the water. As he closed his eyes, the last scene he saw was the snake general, unable to escape the frost and icy blades, being cut into several chunks on the shore. Oh shit. That'll scar someone. The fox. A fox beside the mountain stands, in sorrow deep and long, with caring heart and hopeful wish for her saviour to belong. With steadfast heart it seeks the path, to rise and journey far. Yet fate unknown, her end draws near, before it sees the star. According to ancient texts, a fox that lives for 100 years can transform into a human and gain knowledge of happening 1,000 miles away. After 1,000 years it can communicate with the ones above and become a fox immortal. There was once a young fox who harbored a deep aspiration to become a fox immortal from a very young age. Driven by this dream, it practiced diligently and tirelessly, never allowing itself to rest. In its quest for knowledge, the young fox frequently sought advice from its kin, asking, "How can I become a fox immortal?" Some experienced fox squires responded with cautionary wisdom, saying, "Becoming a fox immortal is no easy feat. Each year, the Lady of Mount Tai holds a rigorous examination. Only those who demonstrate exceptional skills in both art and philosophy can ascend to immortality. Those who fail the examination are destined to remain as ordinary wild foxes, forever barred from achieving immortality." The young fox asked, "But how can I excel in arts and philosophy? I don't even have anything to write with." The fox squire replied. Once you can transform, you can take the form of a beautiful woman or handsome man and go to human towns to study and learn. But remember this. The Lady of Mount Tai oversees all foxes and despises those who seduce and consume humans. You must know that absorbing human essence is the quickest way for Yaoguais to become powerful. If you wish to become a fox immortal, this path is forbidden, and you must set off on much more perilous and arduous path. The young fox said, I understand now, but I am not afraid of the perils and ordeals. I will discipline myself and follow the path to true immortality. From then on, the young fox relied solely on the essence of the sun and moon for cultivation. Decades passed in the mountains, and she gradually acquired the ability to transform. She often approached human villages to observe their way of life. One day, I accidentally stepped into a hunter's trap. I was rescued by a young scholar who took it home. Poor fox. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have absorbed human essence and consume humans. Green-capped martial artist. In tattered robes and bamboo hat worn, golden chakram through fire, a sight to adorn. 3 times in snow his zen heart tried, neither foe nor friend, just mischief implied. Grey and white ice and snow blanketed the entire mountain range. In a deep valley, there was a peculiar cave with lush green watermelon field, thriving exceptionally well. A young monk was in the field, picking melons, patting them here and there, but none seemed to satisfy him. Next to the watermelon field stood a strange man wearing a bamboo hat, watching a young monk pick watermelons. My brother said that if there's a chance I can test the monkey on his behalf, he said. The young monk finally picked up a watermelon, weighed it in his hands and smiled. This one's good, ripe and sweet. The one you mentioned, I've already checked him for you. He's good. The strange man replied, if I don't test it myself, I won't be at ease to tell my brother about him. Who's his brother? The young monk exerted his strength and split the watermelon in half. Instead of feeling unease about him, I worry more about your brother. The strange man pondered for a moment and said, the thing is guarded by my brother. There is nothing to worry about. The young monk, munching on both halves of the watermelon, said noncommittedly, that thing tests the bearer's heart greatly. He has borne it alone for many years. Let's hope he doesn't fail at the last moment. The strange man quickly responded, that's why if this time that monkey succeeds, wouldn't it be the best of both of you? The young monk stopped, looked up at the strange man, who quickly bowed his head and apologized. The young monk laughed again, waved his hand and said, Go. First pass my disciples test, then we'll talk about the rest. Oh? Am I the disciple? The third prince. In the kingdom of flowing sands, his lineage held the throne. Chubai, spear in hand, as prince of might well known. In the kingdom of flowing sands? Yeah. So they all looked human, then they turned into rats. The third prince, renowned in the city of Pin, originally hailed from a distant land before becoming a disciple of Bodhisattva Goshiwang. Bodhisattva Goshiwang was famed for his ability to subdue Yaoguais. This was precisely the skill that the third prince sought to learn, as his homeland was plagued by rampant Yaoguais. After the journeys had bested the Yellowwind Sage, the third prince was relieved to learn that the sage had been sent back to Mount Lingshan. This news allowed him to focus on his mountain practice undisturbed. Later, whispers of another grand ceremony in the New West caught his attention. With his master's permission, he set out with his 4 captains to investigate, suspecting Yellowbrow of foul play. However, they were met with a crushing defeat, as Yellowbrow had once again stolen his master's vessel. Master, we have suffered a resounding defeat. This is not the first encounter we've had with him, and yet here we stand, vanquished once more. Master, our beguiling spell has taken me. I had to wound myself to stay awake. Master, be warned. That old guy now possesses an immense gilded form, which turns aside blades and spears with ease. Exercise utmost caution. Master, the 4 captains must have been bewildered by some evil spells. Now they have bowed before Yellowbrow and become his devotees. Master, my first captain debated with Yellowbrow and was deluded. Now he sings beguiling chants in the dungeon to incite our surrender. The first captain drove him into madness. Master, Yellowbrow twisted off my second captain's head. Into pus and blood it turned. Yellowbrow's evil craft then transformed the blood and pus into a lotus flower blooming at the temple gate. Master, the third captain threw his weapon at Yellowbrow, and Yellowbrow broke the captain's limbs and reattached them with those of others. Master, the 4th captain was struck by Yellowbrow's spike-shaft cudgel. His body was pierced and his eyes grew out of every hole. Ew. Master, it was my command that led the 4 captains to attack Yellowbrow. I was wrong. It's all my fault. All my fault. The 3rd prince, driven mad, having blinded himself and deafened his ears, muttered incessantly in the dungeon. Could his master truly hear his words spoken to the walls? Did he even have a master? Why had his master never come to save him? Keeper of the New West. Divining fate, he plays his part. In worldly guise, a cunning art. He laughs at fools who seek their fate, for luck and doom the heart dictates. The celestial court often favored guise of plants and trees in the selection of keepers. The keeper of the New West, however, was renowned for its being a feathered deity of wind. This keeper, unlike others, cared not for tending the soil or sowing seeds. Instead, he had a unique penchant for divination. Though he hailed from the West, chanting sutras was not his calling. His true talent lay in the ancient art of yarrow stalk divination, where he skillfully foretold fortunes and misfortunes. The New West was flanked by the Thorn Ridge to the east and the 7 Perils Mountain to the west, both treacherous places scarcely visited by travelers. Guarding this area, the keeper compelled every passerby to have their fortune told. Under the guise of interpreting the divination, he would set up intricate traps. Travelers eager to avoid misfortune would unknowingly fall into the keeper's schemes. One day a traveler passed through, and the keeper, as usual, insisted on reading his fortune. The reading revealed a bad omen. Terrified, the traveler begged the keeper for a resolution. The keeper, feigning mystery, claimed to have a secret method to turn misfortune into fortune, but required a hefty payment. Desperate and believing him, the traveler handed over all his money. The keeper then directed him to a narrow, winding path, instructing him to proceed quickly. Following the keeper's advice, the traveler safely crossed the ridge and the mountain. Observing this, the keeper laughed and said, "The art of divination lies not in the omens, but in the heart. Where the heart leads, there lies fortune or misfortune." The tale spread, leaving everyone amazed. From then on, those who passed through felt fortunate to have their fortunes told by the keeper. Where the heart leads, there lies fortune or misfortune. So his divination is full of shit. Jew by Jew. Born with a clumsy heart, trapped in life's advance and retreat, breaking precepts repeatedly, following nature, not the Buddhist feet. With rake and tusk, smashing fate, borrowing karma's weight, rolling in the muddy world, heedless of scorn or debate. In the highest sky, above the jade pool, amidst the swirling clouds and mist, celestial maidens flitted to and fro. Today, the Queen Mother of the West was hosting a lotus viewing banquet. As Admiral Tianping walked past the gate, he saw a tall, burly man blocked by a celestial maiden. "Admiral Curtain Raiser," the maiden said in a polite but cold manner. "Without a handwritten invitation from the Queen Mother, you cannot sit by the pool. If you don't mind, why not take a seat by the side hall and have some tea?" The burly man responded in obedience, but his gaze fixed in the main hall. At such behavior, Tianping suddenly shook his head. a faint smile playing on his lips. He presented his invitation to the other maiden at the gate and strode in, his head held high. The banquet was in full swing, with celestial officers exchanging toasts, their joyful laughter resonating throughout the hall, creating an atmosphere of mirth and merriment. Tianping, an admiral who guarded the celestial river, seldom attended such festive gatherings. However, he managed to greet everyone as if he was well acquainted with them all while mindful not to overindulge in wine. The god of longevity stood beside the Queen Mother, stroking his beard, and chuckled. Such extravagance, I wonder how would the peach banquet surpass it? A constellation officer standing nearby chuckled at the elder's concern. Elder, such worries are in vain. With the allure of those 9,000-year peaches, even a casual arrangement of tables outside the celestial gate would draw the dignitaries from across the three realms, be they noble or humble, eager to partake in a taste. A red-faced immortal sneered. It's not the peaches they seek, but rather to bow before the Jade Emperor and the Three Supremes, and worship the Buddhas of the West. Such assemblies are scarce pretexts for them to curry favor and bask in the company of the divine. The Queen Mother spoke with solemn dignity. The peach banquet is no trivial matter. Our gathering today is but a prelude, a rehearsal of the rites and rituals that must be executed with exactness and reverence. Upon concluding her speech, the Queen Mother signaled the Lord of Luna with a glance. With a few claps of his hands, a group of maidens dressed in white entered the hall. The maidens took their positions by the jade pool and began to play instruments, sing and dance. Among them, one dancer with hair like silver and a dress like clouds stood out with her exceptional grace. Tianping had never seen the beautiful celestial maidens so closely, and he was fascinated. A celestial maiden in a violet gauze dress, holding an exquisite cup of wine with both of her hands. Admiral, she softly called. Drenched in his fascination, Tianping took the cup from her hands. His gaze never left the white dancing sleeves. Violet gauze dress? It's a violet spider. After the dance concluded, Tianping regained senses. He rose up to toast the Queen Mother, yet the queue was long. By the time he reached the end of it, he found himself already outside the gate. Suddenly he heard someone shouting, "Shoes, his shoes!" He looked over and saw two celestial officers supporting a drunken monkey as they hurried past. Tianping thought to himself, when will I ever get to be as drunk as that monkey? Oh, it doesn't exactly recount everything. Okay. Anyway, I think that'll do for today. Well, this week. So that's, what? Act 3 done? Yeah. There'll be Act 4, Act 5, then Act 6. 3 more times. 3 more weeks. I'll see you guys then. Yep. Peach.